Good afternoon, Valley New School.
Good afternoon.
Our next senior presentation is our friend Milo. Milo has been at Valley New School for 2.5 years. According to Milo, his favorite part of being a Valley New School student is the freedom and independence that the school brings, which I agree. His future plans, he is going to be hopefully going to Linfield University next year in Oregon. Double major, political science and education. So I know he's very excited. He's worked very hard to put this all together today. And I know he's gonna grand slam time. So Milo, break a leg, buddy.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello. I'm Milo, and I will be your contractor today. I will help you figure out what works for your property and your expectations. I've been working for Hands Landscaping for about a year now, and I would like to improve your outdoor space. I know that you would like to too. I can help you with that, but first you should understand a few things about landscaping and masonry before making this choice. Masonry can look different. It's a very versatile craft. Masonry is the trade of stone, bricks, and mortar. It is one of the oldest building crafts in the world. The earliest forms of masonry go back to the Neolithic period, around 10,000 BC, when humans first began building structures out of stone. The first structures were quite simple. They were just stacked stones without mortar. The world's oldest city, Jericho, had walls built out of large stones strategically placed together and stood as tall as 26 feet in some areas, all without mortar. This wall had a dual purpose of acting as a retaining wall for flooding and also to keep intruders out. Homes were built out of dried mud bricks that were clay, sand, water, and grass, cured in the sun. Over time, masonry had developed with techniques and tools, like polishing stones, carving, and shaping. Think of the ancient constructions of the pyramid and the Roman aqueducts. Enough about history, though. Let's get back to you. We don't need to reinvent the brick. Thanks. Let's start real basic. A concrete pad in your backyard. First, we would have to excavate. Excavation is the process of removing unneeded earth. For a typical concrete pad, we would dig out about 1 foot to 1.5 feet to have room for the 4 to 8 inches of gravel and the 4 to 6 inches of concrete. Depending on what you're going to put on top of the concrete pad, you need more or less gravel underneath. If you have heavy things going on the structure, like a car or a bar, a house, something, then you will need more likely 8 inches of gravel. If you don't, then 4 inches is acceptable. It also matters the PSI, the pounds per square inch for the concrete. The concrete can take more PSI the higher the rate. It can take more weight the higher the PSI. So, if you have something with higher PSI, it can be 4 inches thick instead of 6. We put gravel underneath concrete to make it longer lasting and to let water flow. Sorry. If concrete was placed just on top of dirt, the dirt would expand and contract, causing the pad of concrete to crack. This is called heaving. It is when the ground freezes and expands and melts and sinks. The water goes in between the space and the gravel and goes underneath the dirt and allows it to freeze and not create breakage. The gravel is put into the excavated area and tamped down with a tool called a tamper or a compactor. A tamper is a square piece of metal, shown here, that you repeatedly hit on the ground to make it level. You can use this with any ground material that's easily moved. In this case, it would be gravel. There's also a gas-powered version of this tool called a compactor. You drag it around by the handle on top and it is quite heavy and loud, but less taxing on the body. The gravel will be compressed till it is level and at least 8 inches from the bottom. After the gravel process, we will set up a form. This is built out of 2x4s. We will dig down a bit and tamp everything down again, making a grade, which is a slant. Just in case you know. A grade of about 1/8 inch per foot. This is a very minimal grade, but it helps water roll off the top and not get stuck and carried. So it gives it somewhere to go. The form in question will be at most 10 by 10 feet. This is because concrete pads will start cracking if they're any larger. Too much weight. This is why you might see a large concrete pad have a straight crack in the middle. This is on purpose. This is a manual crack to keep from unexpected breakage. This is called a control joint. Making the concrete has to be a quick process since concrete dries so fast. My team and I will have to get a mortar mixer for the concrete and the mortar for later in the process. Cement is made out of limestone, shell, and clay, and concrete is made out of cement, sand, and gravel. The mixer runs on gasoline, and has 4 paddles. It has 4 paddles that consistently agitate the mixture. We typically use 5 gallons of water to 2 pounds of 80-pound bags of concrete. But you have to just know the consistency. The mixture can't be too dry or the mixture will stop moving and it will be unusable because the concrete will dry up. The mixer can hold only so much, so my crew will have to make batches of it, and others will have to be pouring it into the form. Once this process is done, we will screed the concrete by taking a long 2x4 and pushing it forward, moving all of the excess concrete to the edges. This makes a flat surface. Then we will use Adobe to flatten up any of the extra uneven spots, and it will get all of the big chunks to go to the bottom. After this process, water will start coming up and it will start bleeding through. So we have to wait until the water is done bleeding through until continuing with the process. If you don't, then it can be, the slab can be weak. To finish off the concrete and make it smooth, we use 2 passes of Darby. That is all that's needed. If any more, the concrete will be overworked and crack. During this process, the water will reabsorb into the concrete, giving it new life. Once the pad is dry, we will start running an edging tool to make the edges rounded instead of sharp. Then we will move over to a groover to make the joints in the concrete to reduce cracking. Groovers need to be added every 10 to 12 feet for larger slabs. A concrete hand float is then used to smooth the concrete and blend the marks left from previous tools. To create a non-slip surface, we drag a broom along the slab to create the texture. So you have a pretty bumpy yard. So I would suggest, if you want a more livable space, is to surround the concrete pad with a retaining wall. Retaining walls are used to fix large slopes on your property. The rule of thumb is 4/1. The height of the slope has to be 4 times greater than the length of the slope to require a retaining wall. This could vary depending on your circumstance. A retaining wall might be needed if the ground is unstable or prone to landslides. It could help with erosion of soil and support the hillside. If you would like to make something like a retaining wall, you would have to excavate. Since you have such a bumpy yard that makes it hard to use the space, you would want to dig into the hill create a wall, have a concrete pad to have a flat surface, since you have loads of unused space and are interested in having a community area. We can have 3 10 by 10 concrete pads and a retaining wall surrounding your property. The retaining wall will be 2 feet wide on each side, making it a total of 34 feet. And then on the long side, a total of 12 feet. Let's say the wall is 4 feet tall. Our crew would have to excavate 37 feet and 14 feet because code says there has to be 1/3 of excavation to the height of the wall. We would excavate from the highest point of the hill down to have room for the 8 inches of gravel needed. And the U-base. U-base is what is put on top of the gravel for the wall. It creates a flat surface that we can stack bricks on top of. Then we will start to lay our courses. When we are stacking stones for a retaining wall, this is dry masonry. Dry masonry is when there's little to no adhesive used. The adhesive used in this scenario would be caulk. Caulk is put on the bottom of the stones and placed there where it is desired. And then you will take the caulk, you'll take the block, and you will move it back and forth, creating hydraulic pressure to make sure the stone is affixed to where you would like it to be. The stone will be staggered on top of each course to help with stability. On course 2, we first add gravel to the excavated area around the wall. Once it is level, we put geogrid on to the first blocks and the gravel. Geogrid is a plastic grid that helps with structure. Then we will add the next course onto the geogrid and cover the gravel area with more gravel. Geogrid goes every other course. The whole process takes about 2 to 3 weeks, depending on weather and delivery schedules. How about we add an outdoor eating area made out of brick? Here's a close-up design. I'm sorry. Oh no, I came out of nowhere. Magic. Let's design an outdoor eating area. This is what I've designed for you. Basically, this will be made out of brick, and it will have some metal on the inside that is made of marine grade stainless steel. It is made sure that it will not get damaged by the rain and that it can have all the appliances you need. As we make this brick wall, we will have to set up a string line for where we would like the brick wall to be. This is so that it doesn't get out of place and it goes up to the exact height you would like it to be. Laying the first course is important. First, you will add caulk, you add mortar onto the bricks, and you place it on, doing the same hydraulic pressure technique as before. You'll set these all down, touching the string line, making sure it's all even and to the desired place. Sometimes a drip edge will be put at the bottom, which is a little metal piece that we put like this, so it doesn't crowd the surface and it doesn't so it doesn't drown out the concrete when it's being made. After the brick wall is being made, there will be tenders who are jointing the wall. They will be going over all of the joints. That's a joint. It's just the area of mortar in between the two blocks, and a jointer will be used to smooth it out. This is so that rain can go down it better and doesn't get caught, and then also so that it looks more appealing to the eye. As the tenders are doing that, the masons will be continuing building up the structure. The tool just removes excess mortar, and then you throw it away. After the wall is complete, we have some pretty harsh chemicals to use. We use hydrochloric acid and dilute it with water. When using these chemicals, or any chemicals, it is important to have a ventilated space and a respirator, gloves, and running water in case it gets onto your skin. I've got it on my skin, wasn't it good? Got a little burnt. After all of the chemicals, we will place the granite where it is needed and go and install the metal and any other appliances you would like. We would take about 1-2 weeks to complete this part of the project. We would be spending a good chunk at your place. But you wouldn't mind that, right? Materials are important. You can't have a structure without materials. Bricks are clay that are put into shape and then baked. Some bricks have holes for structural reasons and weight reduction. You can put mortar into the holes, creating a more full structure. It just combines everything a little bit more. Cinder blocks are made out of concrete and are put into a mold to gain the shape. Cinder blocks are usually used as a structural base and then surrounded in bricks. There are also many other types of stones. There are some stones that we don't cut, they just come as they are, and then we use them ourselves. You can also make a bunch of stone walls just using pebbles and then bigger stones and then mortar and concrete, and then you build up a wall, and it's kind of crazy. They have to be pretty thick though. Hardscapes are pretty broad. All masonry are hardscapes, but there's also lots of other hardscapes. It is just any man-made structure or non-living part of the landscape. This could include a deck, a patio, a pergola, pavers, and much more. If a pergola interests you, we could also do a few designs that catch the rainwater and diverts it into your plants. This is called a louvered pergola. This type of pergola uses a gutter system with louvers to redirect the rainwater to keep it from pooling on top of your structure and to keep it into your plants without you doing any work. That kind of sounds nice to me. As great as this option is, I'm not sure it's in your budget. This can be $1,000 to $3,000 depending on the size and installation time. This could be an investment, but it is good to note these last 20 to 25 years. Now let's move on to landscaping. This is called softscaping as well. It's all the living things. When thinking about landscaping for your yard, you should take into consideration how much effort you want to spend on upkeep of plants and grass. How much time do you want to spend watering, mowing, pulling weeds, etc. If you want my personal opinion, I want Wisconsin to have more native plants. A great example of something that happened in our own backyards is the ash trees and the emerald ash borer. The emerald ash borer is an invasive beetle that attacks and kills ash trees. The ash trees are native to Europe, not Wisconsin, so it is easy for the beetles to spread quickly and kill the trees. Appleton recently cut down hundreds of trees due to this infestation. The city cut down approximately 680 trees between the sidewalk and the road, and 220 trees in all of the local parks. This is a costly problem. This cost us about $425,000 just to remove the trees, and we have not replanted. This is mainly to labor issues and monetary issues. We cannot afford to plant more trees, and it will take decades to reforest our own area. And trees are very important for oxygen, shade, and just human life in general. For your yard, I noticed that you had some shaded areas and some areas that get quite a bit of sun. Here are some native plants which thrive in the sun. There is spider's wort and smooth phlox and great blue lobelia. And here are some that need some more shade. Wild ginger, bellflower, lady fern, and interrupted fern. If these don't spark your fancy, there are plenty more to choose from. Wisconsin has over 8,000 native plants. Once established, most native plants do not require much care and often create more of themselves, create more of themselves without help. They also are pollinators. They also attract pollinators, which are very important for the ecosystem. We won't have most of the food that we produce without pollinators. So attracting them into your backyard isn't the worst idea. Invasive plants are introduced and are non-native. They will spread from the place they were first introduced and take over a large area and have a chance to cause harm to other plants by spreading diseases. Not all non-native plants are invasive. This is why it is important to do your research before putting something in your yard. Invasive plants are used much more than you think, such as Japanese honeysuckle. This plant grows like crazy. It invades prairies, roadsides, and anything it can get its leaves on. It can grow 80 feet in length and has underground prickly things that make it hard to take out. Orange daylilies, they spread aggressively fast and kill out native plants. These are a very common thing to be planted around, and they're really, really hard to get rid of. Once they're there for life. They come back every season, so just don't plant them. Yeah, and then also, they're just really popular because they require no maintenance and pretty much grow in any soil. They're actually called ditch lilies as well, just because they'll grow wherever they find life, they'll grow. Butterfly bush is another great example of an invasive species. Butterfly bush is the equivalent of junk food for pollinators. The bush is prolific and tends to grow large and spread, making it harder for other healthier plants to survive. The Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources has a list of native species that you might have in your backyard. They suggest you remove the species and avoid planting them, and so do I. This might take some time, but if you want to commit to this, if you want to make this a priority and commit to this, my crew and I are invested in making that happen for you. Some alternatives to butterfly bush can be found in the Butterfly and Moth database. You enter your zip code, you enter your zip code and look up what butterflies and moths are in your area, and it will tell you a list of host plants, which are plants that specific species like to lay their eggs in, such as milkweed for monarch butterflies. And as you investigate deeper into butterfly habitat, new research has proven it is best to create a beneficial habitat for all stages of life, not just egg stage. I can help you with your research if that interests you. The more biodiversity in your yard, the better for the environment. So it is best to have many native plants, as well as still making your area look nice and enjoyable. You can think about when different plants will flower and how tall they will get, and the colors of the blossoms, and make a beautiful aesthetic that fits your personality. Schematics are how we communicate. You will tell me what you want and what you imagine, and I will create a first look into your brain and the space. There are many ways to create schematics. One is blueprints, which were originally created by a chemist, astronomer, and a photographer in 1982. The process for blueprints created was originally drawn on semi-permanent paper placed onto a sheet of paper or cloth. The paper or cloth were pre-coated in a photosensitive chemical. So once the drawing was exposed to light, the lines became blue and the whole background became blue and the lines stayed white. This is why they call them blueprints. 100 years ago, this process was replaced by modern methods of printing and copying. Now, most schematics or blueprints are made with the help of computer-aided design, CAD, because the need for hard copies has declined, since it's easier to send electronic files. It's important to go over the schematics many times during this process to ensure the client once is accurately communicated and the builder and what the builder will do actually is accurately communicated back. This means that there will be many revisions of schematics before the project is started, and as things evolve, change due to budget issues, time factors, or other variables. I personally like to draw my schematics. I like to draw my schematics by hand first, and then I create a key, and then later on I use other CAD programs, and I put in the numbers and make it 3D, or I'll draw them digitally. Here are some common types of schematics that I use. The first one is bird's eye. Bird's eye is basically where you're from a pinhole perspective and it's just flat up and down and you just see the top of it. Bird's eye can get a couple points across about how much space you have, and you've probably seen this in maps and really maps of anything. So there's also a cross section. This is when the perspective is 2D and looking at the point of interest. Let's take a concrete pad, for instance. From this perspective, on top of the soil, all you would see is a concrete grip pad being the ground and maybe a fence and some trees or whatever is around, but you're not really seeing what's happening under it. So with the cross section, we will cut it in half and show all of the layers so you get a better understanding of how much time will go into it, the materials, and just what's going on. There is also a 3D drawing. The third is 3D drawing, and this is less specific on real dimensions and more focused on the overall shape, look, and feel. 3D, in my opinion, is the easiest to understand when looking at it. But I think that it's a little hard to draw. I think that the process of it gets a lot more on where you're standing. And I kind of like something that is written in stone, a lot of numbers. But since now you know a little bit about masonry and you know a little bit about landscaping and schematics, it's your time to give me your idea of what you want for your space. There's an envelope on your table, and you have to collaborate with your team members of your desks. Except the people in the back, you guys are gonna have to choose a group up here. Oh, sorry, there was only 6. Yeah, I would like to see your structures. And if you have any questions, you can ask me.
We'll need to find another one.
We're gonna build. First we mine. You almost bet on me. First we mine, then we craft. Let's mine craft. Hi Theo.
Oh my god, there's a kid.
Do you want to join us?
Come on, come on. Did you just say sadly?
Thank you. I think Jojo was a soup
Oh, right there, in my face.
Hi. I think it's like the most known death. Whoa! We're trying to build an outdoor area for a 57-year-old suburban Christian mom who is recently divorced.
What?
Huh?
Okay.
like, how am I supposed to?
I've built this Rick Bob
Okay.
Hell no.
Hi, you can help me. I don't really know what to do.
Yes. No, she only kidnapping. That's you?
Hi, I can't say that.
No,
It's like Caesar.
Flowers behind the structure. And then I was talking to all you can be in the flowers. For the water.
Did y'all eat glue sticks as a kid? St. John. You should tag me up there. Tag me, man. I'll read your script. Everyone look at each other. I need some gardening service and would call you guys if you can help on my mom and I.
Milo, you're lying to yourself.
Come here, kid. Come here, kid.
You're braver than me.
You're braver than all of us. Okay, so someone's caressing.
You're braver than me. You were able to I would not have had the anatomy to do that. Yeah.
What if I beat you up? What if I just go?
Alright, this is.
What if I just clean?
What if you were strawberries?
What if we were on a road? Cooper, you ready? What if we were on a road? I gotta do a little bit. What if?
What if we were at a red light?
What if we were?
You better ask.
They all need a plant.
Hello. Tiger?
I'm looking.
Okay. What are you looking for?
Can I look in there?
No. You touch it, and it will be your hand.
Can I just look at it?
No.
You can't put a hand on him. He's a minor.
There's another girl.
And I also don't speak English.
I hope you know it can hear you.
I think Miss. Oh wait, Miss R's the one who.
Yeah, Miss R is currently watching it as we speak, actually. So,
Oh wait, can I just like say hi to Tara?
I think.
What
I come back to? What is this?
It's Mike. And years later.
I've got a love deep inside of me. It's just wanting
Inside me. All of them are angry at the world.
There's 5 of them inside me, all of them are dead.
That's a fact.
I guess he's a smirking cat, like the...
I'm not that happy. I eat home. Dude, I agree with the
Yes, you are my trusted adult. You're not Jerry.
That's fine, I guess.
Doesn't matter.
You're not a trusted adult.
That is an open ended. That's very uninvasive, guy.
Let's kill the horse.
Finn, let's kill the horse.
Finn, I think it's trying to surrender. Kill it.
Absolutely not.
Stop freaking running from me. What if you had a red light and mid-eye contact?
Okay.
That's it. What's up, baby girl? Angry now. I'm Robin's mentor, yeah? You like my flower?
No. What flower? I don't see a flower.
Okay.
Wait. You should put them all over your face. I'm really blind. Oh, okay.
You got a 3D model going over there? Not yet. It takes
I like it. It's like the video. It's the can you stop being a jackass?
my flower.
Nerd. How manly am I? So manly. Double fist burgers from Arby's in my mouth. Aren't you vegetarian now? Isaac should go all carnivore.
Isn't that a game?
Like, how do you do it? It's like,
All carnivore, you have to do no seasoning, I think.
Oh, that actually sounds
Yeah, it's just salt, water, and beef.
it's like really like this, and then
You know what? Never mind. I agree with this idea.
I know the body roll, and they have nothing.
There's the lion diet, but straight raw meat.
You're going back.
Yes, yes. What are they doing to this?
I'm gonna get that. Where did they get that?
I don't like
Land stuff is gonna hurt you somehow. They're all white. They're all rich white people, so they don't have like anything to like worry about.
I don't
They just have to like make up shit.
She acts like she's like a normal person, but like she's always living $1 million apartment.
This is Sukuna Cast. I drew it.
I was dancing the leprechaun.
Not the blue.
You should take it to the make the leprechaun.
Make it yellow.
They're like little Shamrock shake.
You take your red riding?
I know Shamrock shake. Let's get some goals, guys. Let's go to the end of that rainbow.
I did.
Beautiful. I made a bear hut from mangrove door.
Minecraft.
Yeah. It's my third hut.
It's gonna be during your tier reputation and we're gonna find it.
I didn't draw your butt.
Try to finish up in the next 2 minutes.
Yeah.
That's pretty creepy. Frivolous.
Alright, I got this. Ready? Let's run.
Oh, maybe not.
I got
That
this.
rainbow. It's invasive.
Not actually.
I think this is a great start.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of like how you see yourself, but like kind
I make everybody ugly here. You're not special.
We're like going.
That's why you can't draw me because
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
I'm just kidding. I just make it. Just like that.
It's like a weird. Wait, I forgot the headphones. Hold up. Perfect. It's like a 1-to-1 ratio. Oh, you don't know, like, you have long hair.
Cameron, put that away. Just pick on your pants. Put that away. Put that stuff away. Put this away. What if I beat you up? What if I just went?
No.
What if I just went 4 minutes straight?
What if I went?
Hydraulic pressing.
What if I went?
What if I was at risk?
What if I just like pick you up and chuck you up?
What if I just like?
POV, I mean, we have to censor shop.
But such a...
Not say the word
You're
job.
not that short.
What if you were a robot?
I always want to say job.
I didn't even do that.
Who did we listen to?
Oh well, thank you for participating in this activity. This is pretty much what we do on a daily basis. I mean, not exactly this. We have straight edges and draw actual schematics, and then build it in real life. But paper was good enough. I've given you guys a lot of information today. I hope that I've helped in some way, and I hope that I will be hearing from you guys soon. Sometimes these projects can get overwhelming, and the team and the owner just want to make sure that the communication is clear. Ask questions when you need to, and be particular about your budget. Most projects can be done in phases if you don't have the money to make them work. Or time to spend with me consulting about your project. We just need a plan to make sure the work is done in the future phases. Overall, I want you to have the space you envision so you can enjoy it for many years. If you have any questions, just ask me. Avery.
So like ever since I was a kid, we had these orange daylilies, is that what they're called?
Mhm.
In our yard. How do I get rid of those?
Okay.
Like I know you said they were hard, but is it possible to get rid of them?
Avery asked how can they get orange daylilies out of their yard. Orange daylilies can get taken out of your yard. You just have to dig quite a bit, and you have to make sure none of their little spores are left. And I mean, I'll dig for free. I like digging. So if you need anything. But yeah, they're not impossible to get rid of. They just spread really quickly underground, and they create these vines. Yeah,
I don't know how long it can.
that's okay. We can figure out. Do you have a lot of them?
We have like these like flower beds kind of at the
Mhm.
house, and there's like a smaller one by the garage.
Yeah.
They're just kind of like all over there.
But they're in the flower beds or out?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they're
Then,
starting to escape though.
yeah, that's fair. But they might be a little easier to get if they were in the flower beds. Isaac.
So throughout this process, did you ever like experiment or try to work on communicating with clients and such, like work on practicing that skill and such?
Yeah, so I did a couple times, and I swear, wait, Isaac asked if I have practiced talking to clients. I have actually done that, and I do quite well one-on-one. You wouldn't believe it. But yeah, talking to clients is its own whole game. You have to be able to sell something. You also have to know your stuff about it. So I've been taking to a few quotes and helped with those. And just kind of talked about the process. Cameron.
Since you go to different people's houses to do the work, what's the fanciest house you've been to?
Ooh, Cameron asked, what's the fanciest house I've worked at? That is a great question. There's this house, you know, like that rich neighborhood in Neenah of where all of those old houses are?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they had so many invasive species. We got them all out. That was great. But it was such a fancy house. And a really interesting thing about when like you're digging, you just find the most random things. And so we found like this like little gnome. It was freaky. And like a bunch of like crystals. It was interesting. But that was probably my favorite house that I've ever been to. I have other favorite houses because we did a lot to them, but that's the fanciest one. Linda.
Do you have to do something before you start digging, or can you just start digging right away?
Well, you have to, Linda asked. Linda asked if you can just start digging willy-nilly, or if you have to do something first. Yeah, so you do have to map out where you want to put it, and you have to, if you don't have an excavator, you probably just shouldn't start digging. And yeah, so.
Do you need to like notify?
Well, okay, yes, you do have to have a permit as well, but I don't know. Yeah, okay, yeah, you do have to have a permit if you go a certain.
Or what about like electrical?
Okay, we're done. Okay. Yes, you do indeed have to call 811 in case there are any electrical wires or any water pipes. In all honesty, I have been on a job site when one of them did get hit. It is not fun. It gets really, really messy and it's dangerous. So just call 811, and there has to be some permits if you're gonna lay concrete. Yeah. Forness.
What is
one of the most expensive parts of the project, and what, like, is there a part when you're doing the quote that somebody has like a sticker shock, or like, I didn't expect it to be that costly?
So, Miss Fornes asked if there is something that is incredibly expensive. Yeah, granite is always a really expensive one. Whenever we have to put in that. My company doesn't price things that high. We have a below fair price because we just charge as much as the materials cost and the labor. We don't really make any much more. But a lot of companies will bark up everything, so a simple stone structure will be really expensive. Granite definitely is expensive, and sometimes pavers can be. Yeah, it really just depends. Cameron.
Can I get a discount because I know you?
Cameron asked if he can get a discount because he knows me.
Just me.
No. Everyone else can.
Yeah!
This is
Lillian asked what my favorite brick is. I really like the ones with 3 holes in them. I can put my fingers in 2 of them, and then I can carry so many bricks. Someone should ask me how many bricks I can carry. Robin.
How many bricks can you carry?
I can carry 24 bricks. I know. Wait, sorry. Robin asked about how many bricks I can carry. Isaac.
Advice for future seniors.
Isaac asked advice for future seniors. Oh, I could write a book on this one. I think really the main thing is it doesn't really. A lot of people say that it matters the project you pick, but you can really get learning out of anything, and kind of take off the pressure of like trying to please others. Definitely, I think this is for you. Like the advisors are doing this for you. This is not for anyone else. It's not for them. It's like so you can lifelong learn, and that is something that like I've learned and also unlearned this year. So I think that really just keep that in mind. Like it just is for you, and be honest and tell people where you're at. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Hi, Lucky.
Hi. Can you describe your research process? Some of the subtopics you researched and some of your favorite sources or something?
Yeah, of course. Lucky asked me how I researched, what kind of stuff I did. So I did 2 main forms of research. I have a lot of subtopics, and each one I have a history of and practice of and different forms of it. And I also did a lot of research in person. I had a lot of live sources, as you can see. And yeah, so my research kind of looked a little different than a lot of people's because I was getting firsthand experience. And I also, I used about 4 different books. I guess actually more. I used 2 on masonry, 2 on native plants, and 2 on schematics. So my research was kind of all over the place, but it was a phase that I really enjoyed, even if it is a little eclectic. Some is still in books, and some is in where it's supposed to be. A lot of it is there, though. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. Cameron.
What is the quickest job you've ever done?
Oh, the quickest job I've ever done? What is the quickest job I've ever done? Thank you, Cameron, for that question. It is just like a grading job. So grading is just when you make a slant. It's just moving material to make a grade. It usually helps like water flow or whatever. It's pretty quick you just pull a rake on it. I've gotten a couple different, I'll answer your question if I can, Cameron. Yeah, I've actually beat out a couple of those jobs in one day. But Veronica, yeah.
What would happen if you didn't put gravel underneath the house?
Veronica asked what would happen if I did not put gravel under the house. It's a great question that I mentioned in my speech. Okay, cool. What happens if you don't put gravel under the concrete is if it goes just on top of the dirt, the dirt will expand and contract, which causes breakage. Basically, this is a process that is heaving. Heaving is just when in the spring it rains a bunch, well, in the fall it rains a bunch, and then winter comes, it freezes, and then it expands, and then melts, and then sinks. It's just not good. It will create a lot of breakage, and you won't have a concrete pad for long, so why spend all that money? Ashley.
What is like the craziest or most funny story you have from like working?
Ashley asked if the craziest or most funny story I have while working. I'm gonna pass. Definitely the craziest one was when the water line broke. That was insane. No one really knew what to do. We just put the water line up, and then it, stopped spraying. That for some reason took some of the guys an hour to think about. So there was a lot of water everywhere. That project was just really interesting. But I've also cleaned out a bunch of houses for people that got evicted. And that has been interesting. I got shoes for my dad's wedding, so I'm not complaining. Thank you for the question. Lillian. Oh, what is something I would like to build or create in the future? Thank you, Lillian. I really want to build hobbit holes. Like, so bad. I've dug so many holes and made like little underground spaces. But now the next step is to put dirt on top and then plant plants and then have hobbit holes under pretty flowers. Doesn't that sound amazing?
No.
No?
I hate plants.
Yeah, you could. You know what a hobbit hole is? We're hobbits. And then also, I really want to build a treehouse. That just sounds fun.
Don't everybody.
It's fair, it's fair. Jack.
From your research, do you learn like cool things that you can bring back to your crew?
Yeah. I figured out a couple different processes. Yes, Jack, I did indeed figure out some new things to bring back to my crew. There's a bunch of different types of like mortar and bricks, and everyone knew this, but there's more cost-effective options, and so I got to bring that back to them, and also I got to research different tools that I think that should be on the job site. So that was pretty cool. Forness.
So my question kind of goes off Jack's, but then did you apply any of your other research? Like, did you get to design a space, or like, can you tell us about that?
Yeah. Forness asked if I got to design a space off my research. Yeah, I have. I've gotten to design a couple different spaces for schematics that have been given to clients. I have made a lot of schematics this year, and I've gotten to apply that knowledge. A lot of that knowledge, I watched videos, I read some books, I talked to some people that just made a lot of schematics in their life. They're really not that complicated, but you can do a lot more fancy stuff if you know what you're doing. And a lot of it's just come from practice. Yeah, it's been pretty cool applying that. And then also I think that knowing what you're doing will always help you with the process. So I think that pretty much everything I've done since then, like since starting this research, has gotten better in one way or another because I understand it more fully. Jack.
What's your favorite part of your job?
Jack asked me what my favorite part of my job is. I really like laying stones. If I get to lay stones, I'm a happy man that day.
You said you like digging holes, right?
I also like digging holes.
Can I come to my house and dig?
Yes, I want to come to your house and dig some holes. Cameron.
Your favorite client you've ever had, like a really, really nice one or someone that you really enjoyed.
Cameron asked who my favorite client was. I've got a couple, but my first goes to this person who, she was this lady. I forgot her actual name. I think it's like Betsy or something. Betsy had a truck. Betsy wanted us to do a job for her. Betsy didn't want this truck anymore. Betsy traded a truck for us, our labor. It is such a cool truck, and it's called the Sarge. She's beautiful. She's beautiful. Oh, yeah. The truck is called Sarge, and she is beautiful.
Betsy?
Also, though, she is going on the market.
How much?
So if anyone wants a $4,000 truck,
That's too much.
That's too much.
it's a beautiful truck.
$10.
I'll give you $4 and a paperclip.
We're done.
Give it a shot.
Oh, I'm very much. Thank you.
These are my notes.